Alright, hey everybody, this is SMFG here. This is my inaugural video. We got a mono black Ugin build. So, this is my mono black Ugin. It's a little bit different than maybe some of the other Ugin builds that you will have seen. Number one way that it's different is I'm running a little bit less of the removal spells you might be familiar with, like Blood Thief's Thirst, Eliminate, and Heartless Act. And I'm running some Feed the Swarm. The reason I'm running Feed the Swarm, and you don't see this in the other Ugin builds, which in my opinion is a mistake, is because it can remove a creature or an enchantment. Sure, I pay a little bit of life, but with some of these decks, especially with like the Tefaris in them and things like that, it's really important to be able to remove an enchantment. So, another way is different. I only have 2 Maze Mind Tomes and a few spare supplies. That's only because I only own 2 copies of Maze Mind Tome, right? If I own 4 copies of Maze Mind Tome, I'd probably swap the spare supplies for an extra Extinction Event. But I only own 3 copies of Extinction Event. Otherwise, I'd have the 4th in there, 4 Maze Mind Tomes, and no spare supplies, right? But it is what it is. You own what you own. You build what you can. 2 copies of Elspeth's Nightmare. I like being able to exile the graveyard. It's nice being able to dig into their hand, but I have more use of it as a removal. I just don't run a lot of copies of it. If you want to run more copies of this and maybe less of something else, go for it. This is the real difference right here between my deck and other mono black Ugin decks. Mind Drain, okay? The reason I'm running Mind Drain instead of Agonizing Remorse, which is what you usually see in this build, okay, so let's look at Agonizing Remorse first. 2 cost mana, sorcery speed. Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, or a card from their graveyard, exile that card, I lose a life, right? Well, for 1 mana more, at the same speed, sorcery speed, right, target opponent discards 2 cards, mills a card, loses a life, and I gain a life. That's a lot more value, kind of bang from my buck, I feel, than Agonizing Remorse. But if you like Agonizing Remorse more, great. Throw that in instead of Mind Drain. But now you're looking at something a lot more similar to some of these other Ugin builds. Mono Black Ugin builds. I'm only running 2 copies of Murderous Rider. They're there for when a Planeswalker comes onto the board, and maybe I had already used my Blood Chief's Thirst for, like, some cheap spot removal of a 1 or 2 cost creature. So these, you know, they're both able to take care of Planeswalkers. This can do it at instant speed. This can't. This does it a little bit cheaper, right? And I get to resolve. If I can get it to resolve, then I can get a creature onto the board that's got some lifelink and can help me get, to the later game a little bit better. Extinction Event. We've already gone over this. I'd have 4 copies, but I only own 3. Stonecoil Serpent. You don't see this card in a lot of these mono black Ugin builds. You know, I've looked at 4 or 5 different versions. None of them seem to be running the Stonecoil Serpent. I really like this card for the mid to later game, which is why I put it here. It's great for bridging that gap and getting some bigger bodies onto board, maybe turn 5, turn 6, while you're waiting to be able to get that Ugin out. 3 copies of Ugin, not 4. If I run 4 copies, I end up getting too many in my starting hand and having to mulligan starting hands, getting too many too early. 3 seems to be the right number. 3 copies of Castle Lochthwain, 4 copies of Crawling Barrens. And that's about all she wrote. So let's get into it. Let's go play this thing and see how she do. In my experience, it's typically, a high 60 to low 80% deck. So I'm expecting we'll end up, somewhere around 60 and 75%, but let's see. Typically, I only play ranked at the very beginning of the season. I play up to platinum, and I stop the second I hit platinum. And we can talk about why I do that maybe in another video or something, but that's just how I play. And then pretty much the rest of the season, I'm just doing best of 1 in the non-ranked. Just playing. So yeah, this is a good starting hand. We've got the early card advantage from the Mind Drain, so we got to see how that plays out. We got some instant speed spot removal for turn 2. Stone Coil Serpent for some of that later game to hopefully help us survive to Ugin, right? I mean, I would love to, not have the Ugin here and maybe just have a little bit more cheap spot removal or maybe like a extinction event, but it is what it is, right? And opponent quits, so that's one easy win for us. Victory is a victory, I'm counting it. Oh, well, come on, server. There we go. Victory is ours. Alright. Well, I tell you what, they won't all be that easy, will they? If only they were all that easy. Man, waiting to find that match. There we go. We found someone for us. Pooh 2. Don't forget Pooh 2, I guess. Alright, come on, server, let us take a look at our hand here. Wow, I don't know what's going on with the servers. They must be getting ready. Getting ready for that new release. Getting ready for that Kaldheim. Alright, game. There we go. So 3 mana. Cling to Dust, eliminate Elspeth, and there's that Mind Drain again. Man, yeah, this is actually almost exactly the type of hand that you want to see. Almost just like the other one, minus an Ugin, pretty much, Yeah, we're liking that, especially seeing that green on the board. I'd really like to see a Goose drop, is what I'd like to see. So we know we're going up against one of the Gruul builds. And it's either, it's going to be Gruul Food, Gruul Adventure, right? Could be that a Crowan War Food, Gruul crap. But we know they don't have counters, and this is going to be a heartbreaker for them. And then we're going to do the same thing again on turn 4. So you want to really tilt them. I mean, I know I'm going up against Gruul. I don't really care what they have in their hand, right? I rather just get 2 of whatever out of it. Oh, wow, they are not Gruul. Look at this. Fae of Wishes, Inescapable Blaze. This is not a deck that you are going to see on the leaderboards, right? This is just why I love playing best of 1 in the non-ranked. This is a deck you will never see if you're playing on the leaderboards, right? If you're on that epic grind to mythic, you missed this one in your on your battle match there, Yeah, you never saw this one in matchmaking, did ya? And I should have played that Crawling Baron first, because then it would have kept up 1 black mana. But I don't really have anything for 1 black mana to throw out at instant speed, so I really don't care. I mean, it is what it is. I will save the Eliminate because it's instant speed. I'll pay some life. I don't care. I'll pay 3 life. Resolve. Actually, wow. Ugh. Right? I'm paying 5 life. But now we're going to go towards continued card advantage now. We're ready to meet any threat that they're going to put down. And now we're going to get serious. Oh, and there's Ugin. Right? So, 1 more mana, we can start going to face with the Crawling Barons, or at least threatening to by pumping it up. If they can get anything down on the board, I mean, look, we've got Eliminate, we've got Elspeth, we've got Bloodchief's Thirst. And if nothing else, I mean, we've at least got Cling to Dust. We can get one of their creatures out of there and do that thing for some life, right? Start doing that life thing. So, good deck, good. I mean, opponents roping, and I don't blame them. If someone just dumped half of my deck out of my hand in 2 turns, I'd probably be roping too, right? we've definitely put them on tilt, I would imagine. You know what I mean? Taking them off of their game plan. And there's that mana I was hoping for, right? So we're just going to swing in straight to their face. We know they likely don't have a whole lot of instant speed removal. And if they do have it, I'd rather have them use it now, when it's just a lowly 2/2. But we got in. We showed them we're serious. We're going to go back to just being our lonely little land so they can't hit us on their turn. And they're going to do their instant speed shenanigans on our turn. But let's see where they get. Where's it going to get them? They draw a card. That's not a threat on the board I'm even worried about removing, right? I mean, unless they get some sort of like Thassa's intervention or something like that to where they can start bouncing that thing. I don't really care about it. I could Blood Chief's Thirst it for 1, or I could just go at their face here, right? Let's Blood Chief's Thirst it. We've got 2. Oh, it's cost 3. It's not a 2 cost. Okay. So then we'll Elspeth's Nightmare, because that will allow us to get into their hand, and then we'll sack the spare supply and just get a little bit more card advantage. And they could be trying to build into something, but think about it. What could they be building into right now that we're not prepared to meet as a threat on the board, right? So I'm very confident not swinging at their face on that turn. And yeah, they're going to look at our face, say, go, go. We're definitely going to swing into their face once we know we're safe. So let's just take a look. Let's see how safe we are. I mean, I'm surprised this person hasn't quit yet. Into the Royal. Are they going to really give that back to us? Okay. They're giving it back to us. All they have in hand is land. I mean, we couldn't ask for much better here. So do we throw the Stone Coil Serpent down so we can go for some serious damage next turn, or do we swing in for the 4 we know we can get? Let's swing in for the 4 that we know we can get. That way we'll be ahead on life and ahead on cards in hand. I mean, they have a little bit more mana down on board, but that doesn't matter if they're not able to put down threats that I'm not able to counter. At this point, I mean, here, yeah, let's just do this just for the heck of it. Just to show them we mean business, right? So now we'll be at 18, they'll be at 12, and they're probably, I would imagine if they don't draw whatever they've been looking for soon, they're just done, right? Okay, what is this? Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell, each turn copy it. Cool, great. And we will do our Elspeth's Nightmare. Drop a spare supplies. And say go. I don't mind taking my time on this guy. I really don't. And now we're definitely going to swing in for the full effect to the face. You know, it just gets worse and worse. Right now, they have 1 turn left on the clock, basically. Unless they can get, you know, a blocker out on the board that I'm not able to deal with on my turn. They're really just looking at a world of hurt. So let's go ahead. Let's say pass turn. Let's give them some love. And let's just see what's going to happen here. Alright. That's good game, right? I mean, that's pretty much GG unless they have something in their hand at instant speed that can meet this threat. It's an 8/8. Swinging for the face. They have it here or they don't. And they don't. And they don't. To which we will send some love. Good game. We are now 2 for 2. 2 for 2 on my inaugural video, Mono Black Ugin. I mean, I can't think of any time during that game where we weren't really confident, right? I mean, I felt like we were pretty much in control the whole way. And a big part of that was just dumping 2 cards at a time out of their hand in that early game. Turn 3 and turn 4, man. I'd say that's where things really came into effect. Everything after that was just pretty much cruising. Alright, so I see 2 eliminates. Feed the Swarm. Mind Drain is there. But this is a thing. I'm not seeing any positive card advantage. But I am seeing that Extinction event for the later game. So even if I'm stuck, you know, not drawing mana for a couple turns, I think I'll be alright. So let's keep it. You know, I'm keeping it with hesitation. You know, I'm only about 80% certain on that keep call. But they got the Gilded Goose, so we know we're going against Mono Green Food, or we're going against the Gruul Adventure Food, or Gruul Chrome War Food, or, you know, something like that, right? But I have been seeing more and more a green and black kind of food build that's running some Garuks that I've had the darndest time with this deck, and I've actually run into it, like, you know, a couple times. And it is definitely not fun. I'm going to hang on to that. I don't want to do anything on their turn, because that just allows them to tap it and use it for the mana. I'd rather just get rid of it now. And I'm sure someone might be watching this video saying, oh, I would have done that. But, you know, you just gotta make the call. There we go. Yorvo. Crawling Baron, so we get our more mana. Do we Mind Drain and take the hit? I think we do. I think this is, you know, you Mind Drain, you take the hit, it's gonna hurt, but it's only 4, right? And we know we can take it off the board whenever we want with Eliminate, because its mana cost was only 3. Oh yeah, look at what we just took out of their hand here, folks. Turn Timber Symbiosis and a Ram through. So yeah, I feel confident we made the right decision. And now we can eliminate. These are both instant speed eliminations, right? Might as well use the extra mana while I have it. I don't need it. Speaking of having it and don't need it, I do need more mana. I would like more mana, but, you know, we can make do with what we have, considering how badly we've cut their hand down and they're almost now to just playing off the top of their deck, right? Like, it definitely changes the equation. And then we're going to get this out, start threatening to maybe get some life in the tank, start threatening face a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't really call that a big, scary threat, but it is something. And I don't care. I mean, they could Beanstalk, they could... What could they put out now that I'm not prepared to take care of, right? That's where my thinking is going. What could they put out now that I'm not prepared to take care of? Not much. Not much, especially with this Extinction event in hand. I can't think of anything really off the top of my head. And I mean, I'll feed the Swarm because I'm going to lose 1 life, or 2 life, but then hopefully I should gain the 2 life as well, right? So feed the Swarm, baby. And then reach on in there and get a hit for 2. Giddy up, giddy up. You know. Meow, meow. Yeah. Do it to it, deck. And sure, maybe we don't count that first win, but I'm counting it. I don't care. I'm counting it. Cool, and we have it for instant speed. There's not anything they can do about it. It's enough to put them on tilt. And now, maybe they have one of those wolves that will allow them to attack my Murderous Rider, sack of food, right? But I guess not. So, Crawling Barons, time to pump you up too. So, you know, we're getting serious about damage on every turn now. We're putting them on a serious clock. The mana advantage is, you know, I mean, the card advantage now is back to almost even, but we took enough out of their hand early on that you can see they're having a really hard time catching up and keeping up with us now. And I mean, if they can't figure something out this turn or next turn, that's going to be game for them, right? So, and I mean, even if they get a blocker out, it's game. Because whatever blocker they put out, unless it's got counters on it, it's gone. Even with counters, it's probably gone. Because of my extinction event, right? Boom. There we go. 3 for 3. First video ever for YouTube. New content creator. And sure, this is unranked best of 1. But I'll tell you right now. Go take your favorite ranked best of 1 deck and bring it into the non-ranked best of 1. Play around with some of these decks that you're not facing on the leaderboard. And report back. Put it in the comments. Tell me how you did. In my experience, you know, you're really lucky if you can get better than 50% with them. It's just a different meta. It's a different beast here in the unranked. So let's see. I mean, why would I not keep this? I got Stone Coil for the mid to late range. I got Heartless Act for the early removal. Spare Supplies for some positive cards into my hand, right? For some card advantage. And Extinction for the later game. I mean, that's a key for sure. Get back on black here. I don't know why I always want this guy to match my deck, but I like it. It makes me feel better about myself. I mean, I get the season's pass just to be able to get the extra packs throughout the season, but these little bonuses are kind of nice. Okay, so this is mono red. This is mono red. I'm going to hold back. I'm going to hold... Oh, do I hold back? No, screw you. I'm not going to hold back. Because I'm not going to waste a Heartless Act on some one-cost threat anyways. You'd have to show me serious cause as to why I need to do that. And this isn't necessarily your typical mono red build. I mean, look at this. This could be that Izzet that we talked about earlier, right? This could be, or sorry, no, that was when I was doing Twitch. So, this could be that Izzet that's designed to mill me, right? It uses Teferi and a bunch of draw cards and the discard to draw red cards, and that's what it survives off of, right? What do we do here? We don't do the Serpent. We definitely don't do the Serpent. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get some more cards in hand. Let's do it to it. Especially if they're going to be starting to mill on us. I mean, that could be the difference of getting the Ugin in our hand now or not, right? And then say next. This is the first one out of, like what? This is game 4 out of 3, right? I think this is maybe the first or second one where we didn't have a way of getting them to discard their cards out of their hand early on. Right?
I love learning.
This Blood Chief's Thirst isn't going to do us any good if I can't get one more mana. Okay? But I've gone 3 turns without drawing any mana now. So what do? We Murderous Rider it, unfortunately. But then again, that's why it's there. We've had this conversation. And I could have done it on their turn, but I didn't want them to get another use out of that Planeswalker. So now we just say pass. You know, nobody's really in an extra advantageous spot right now. No one's... I wouldn't say anybody's really in control. And here I can make the argument for dropping the Elspeth or the Murderous Rider. But I think the Elspeth is going to be a little bit harder for them to deal with. Whereas, you know, they hit the Murderous Rider with a cheap 2-cost red spell and it's gone, right? I could think of 3 or 4 off the top of my head that would do it. So, let's do it this way, and let's dig into their hand next turn. Let's exile that Planeswalker out of their graveyard. Besides, I would feel better looking in on their hand, just knowing what the heck is going on here. This is not the Azet build that I was scared of either. You know what I mean? With the Teferi. This is something different. Let's see what we're going against. Oh, Experimental Overlord? I think not. Now we know what this is. This is like a classic Azet, try to pump your creatures kind of thing, but they didn't get what they needed is what it's looking like. You know, they had kind of a shitty starting hand. And we'll definitely use the Blood Chiefs on that, for one. Get our Murderous Rider out, since we know they can't kill it. Save this Blood Chief for this guy right here. And say go. Yeah, because this guy's going to get counters on it. That's what it's there for, right? Here it comes, and then they're going to cast... No, they're not casting Jawari.
I overanalyze the situation.
Okay, so don't cast Jawari. I don't care. Even if you do cast Jawari, I've got the mana for it. So we're going to Blood Chief it. Blood Chief's Thirst. Now, you could copy that to kill my Murderous Rider, but I really don't care. Because next turn I will throw out that Stonecoil Serpent. Oh, wow, and they didn't go for it. They're probably just thinking, you know, take the hit for 2, hold it back to threaten 4 later. Why would they take the hit? Why would they take the hit and then kill it? This is insanity to me. I have no idea why they took the hit and then killed the creature. If anybody watches this video and you think you can figure it out other than idiotic misplay, please post it in the comments. This is crazy to me. Outright craziness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we hold back the 1 mana for the Jawari, right? So we make a 5/5. Hold back the 1 mana for the Jawari. And then, you know, next time Shock's not going to cut it. They're going to have to use one of their more expensive spells. Oh crap, I forgot the Jawari would be copied too. Oh man. Oh man. That was a misplay. That was totally a misplay on my part. And this is one of those points where I wish I had my Crawling Barrens right now. And typically in a typical game, all my other games, I had a Crawling Barrens by now. Because you gotta think, I'm at least a third of the way. You know, I'm a quarter of the way through the deck. I have 4 of them, right? But this is that classic Magic the Gathering shuffler, you know, that everyone loves so much. And we don't have any threats to put down. We don't have anything to do. We just say, go! And they're just going to keep on digging. Keep digging. And I would say they're definitely in a position of advantage now. They've got card advantage. They've got mana advantage. They've actually got something down on the board that's doing something for them, whereas I don't. Yeah, I'd say they're definitely in control, you know, for sure. But life just, it gets tough. It gets tough. Pump them out. Daddy's got an extinction event just waiting. Just waiting to get me to that Ugin mana. Just waiting to get me to my Ugin mana. Look at him just bringing it all back into hand and doing it all over again, right? I mean, this is just epic gameplay on their part. There's that Crawling Barrens. I've been waiting for you. I'm 1 away from my Ugin money. Yeah, that's definitely a reason to do an extinction event, right, folks? Even. I don't know why I even had to think about that. It's 2 a.m. here, I think. A little past 2 a.m. when I'm recording this video, so that might have something to do with it. But yeah, look at all this card advantage they're able to generate. But they're going to end up self-milling eventually if they don't have any way to take care of that. So, really, I mean, I hope they just go nuts and put everything out on the board they can so I can just Ugin it. Which their response will be to shock my Ugin, right? I have no misgivings about that. I understand that that's going to be what's going to happen. But it's going to be that or death soon by next turn, right? With all these experimental overlords getting copied. The Magnetic Chancellor, which is just going to be able to just go right at my face for big damage, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be some issues coming up here real shortly. And unfortunately, even after I sweep with Ugin, they're just going to kill it and rebuild. This is a really cool Izzet build, but it wasn't the Izzet that's trying to get you to discard that I was thinking I was going to end up facing. If I don't get my Ugin mana, I should have done a Heartless Act on this turn, right? But if I don't get my Ugin mana, I'll do it next turn. But that could tilt me. That could be the difference between surviving to next round or not, right? But I got my Ugin mana. I've got my Ugin mana. And they're going to shock me to the face right after I do this, but that's life. At least we'll get rid of this.
Unutilized courage is rotting fruit.
Whoa, are they bouncing me back? Oh, they're bouncing their own stuff back to their hand. Well, that was pretty ingenious of them.
All creation.
So now they're going to shock me for sure, right? Because why wouldn't they shock me? Or do they wait and shock me on my turn? They'll probably just wait and shock me on my turn. But if they do that, then they're taking the 3 damage. But at this point, they probably don't care about that 3 damage. Right? Nope, they did it on their turn. Okay. I can't see anything wrong with that play. To me, that seems like the right play to make. And then I'm going to Heartless Act their Storming Entity. And feed the Swarm on this guy. Because I'm tired of that guy, right? That guy's going to be big troubles in Little Chinatown. Alright, now let's see what you do. Oh, so they're going to cycle, but it's not really going to help them. And then we're going to pump our Crawling Barons. And we can go ahead and take action since they don't have any way of killing it at instant speed. Because they have no mana. So they got the card advantage. Oh, wow, they had another double vision in hand. Can you believe that? They had another double vision in hand. And they probably have, like, what? 4 shocks in that deck, and they've already used 2 of them? But I think the 2 they used was actually one of them returned to their hands, so I think they've only actually used 1 of them. Oh my goodness, this is gonna hurt! It's gonna hurt, folks. This is not good times. that's gonna do it, because they're gonna shock me after that, aren't they? Yep. I think that's pretty much game, but there's a lot of cards that we can draw here that can still turn it around. Another Ugin, and then they're pretty much looking at milling themselves, right? Or, even an extinction event right now, I could target odds. You know, I've only seen one extinction event, one Ugin. But I'm only a little over a quarter of the way through my deck. So, I mean, the odds of seeing another one of those right now are pretty slim. You know, most likely cards that we're going to see right now are going to be, well, mana or card advantage, I guess. So, do this the right way. They hit me for 2. This is game, folks. This is game. It just is what it is. This is game. They pump these. There's no way they're not hitting me for 6 next turn. There's just no way. Just say good game and move on. Okay, so that's it, right? What are we? We're 3 for 4, 4 for 5, something like that. 36-minute video. This is plenty long enough. Everybody, my name is SMFG. I'm a new content creator on here. I Twitch when I can. I've only done it twice, but I'm trying to do that every day. I just haven't set a set time to do that. And then I'm going to try to do one of these videos for you every day with a different deck. Sometimes my own special brew. Sometimes maybe somebody else's that I built in my own way. But I really hope you guys can maybe see some value in watching content from a creator like me that's maybe a little bit different than what you're used to in a content creator who's just focused maybe on grinding up the mythic ladder or whatever. You know what I mean? So, hopefully, you know, you'll like me, you'll subscribe, you'll click the little bell, and you'll love it. But if not, you know, it is what it is. But I really appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch the video. If you have something to say, share, leave it in the comments. I'd love to take a look. It's SMFG on here, so add me up. I will add back. I don't have, look, I have 0 friends, everybody. 0 friends. So if you want to be my first friend, you can be my first friend. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on the next video.